What is your pull list looking like these days now that the prices of comics have gone up? I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, if you love me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, guys, you came to the right place. Why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button? Yeah, guys, that's the topic today. This topic is based off of my Facebook group called Comic Book Corner 2.0 Webheads Unite. If you guys are looking to join a fun community absolutely for free, over 2,100 strong, go ahead, join it, guys. Answer a few questions to make sure you're not a bot, and I'll approve you and you'll be part of this group. Now, the actual question here was inspired by Ray, and his comment on my Facebook group was, "It's a new day. I canceled my pull list. No more $100 a week on New Comic Book Day. I still support the LCS, just collecting differently now. Anyone else doing the same?" So, listen, it's the day, the age of pricey comics, right? $3.99, $4.99, $5.99, $7.99, $8.99. Shit, we had X-Men comic this week. What was it, $10 for that comic book? What is your guys' spending habits as of right now? What are comic books looking like right now? Do you prefer to go to your local comic shop? Me, personally, yeah, I do. I totally do. I just love having the physical comics in my hand. I love going to the shop, talking to the guys. I love doing that comic book haul every single week. And not only do I read my comics, as you guys know that, but I also love collecting them as well. I love collecting the CGC books. I love collecting key books. I love it all. And, it's just a lot of fun. And of course, I share my passion with you guys on YouTube on what I think about the books that I read each in particular week. Now, a lot of you will ask, well, Mike, how do you afford these comic books? Well, again, I've told you my profession. I am a tennis instructor. And also with doing YouTube, yes, it does pay me off of the monetization to do these videos, and based off of the views and everything else, I do get money for that. So luckily I do make enough basically to pay for these comic books. Now, does it say, do I blow the complete budget? No, absolutely not. Do I say I have New Year's resolutions every single year? Yes. Do I break them? Yes. But I am cautious, believe it or not, on what I spend in a particular week. I do get discounts at my comic shop. We do have a monthly stamp program at my shop where I accumulate store credit and it gives me money off of comics. So that's a way I'm able to afford things. But I tend to honestly stay on the low side of DC Comics. Being that I never was a huge DC fan when I was younger, I honestly tend to stay away because I don't have much attachment to the characters. Is it to say that I will not try their comic books? No, I'll try them. I try a bunch of number ones. You guys know that with my Worthy Ones series, right? I definitely will try them, but I tend to drop DC Comics quicker than I would say Marvel, just because, again, I'm more attached to Marvel. I've even had a question on my actual comment section saying, I wish you would review more independent comics, or the way you review comics is whack because you say a B book is not worthy but a C+ book is. And again, not getting into the explanation of why I give grades on certain books, it's just because there's certain books that I'll tend to read that I can see myself reading, compared to books that still might be really good book, but it's just not my storytelling style, right? So again, when it comes to a certain publisher, I might not read it. So when it comes to like DC, I tend not to read some of that stuff, and I tend to collect on the lighter side of things. Plus, when it comes to DC right now, there's not nearly as many books as Marvel. There's more books to try at Marvel, and that's why I tend to talk about them more. Now, when it comes to the independent side of things, I do read a lot of independent comic books, guys. There's a lot more than I ever done before when it comes to the Spawn books, the Transformer books, that something is killing the children. There's a Deviant. There's a lot of stuff out there that I do try. But again, I can't read everything. I try to keep my budget around the $100 mark, but that's never always the case. It always tends to go over, right? So I would say more like the $150 mark. That's my, I guess, threshold here. But some of you other guys sat there and said you've changed your spending habits as well due to the prices of the comics. And so here I have Alonzo who said, Yes, I moved recently and started going to a new local comic shop. I use that as an opportunity to shrink my list down to only $100 a month. So me, it's like $100 or $150 a week. And it says around July, I'll probably start collecting only trade paperbacks and omnis. The only single issues I'll collect will be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Action Comics and Detective Comics. So we can see here, Alonzo is a fan of DC and stays true to those characters, just like I stay true to, I would say, Spider-Man, right? And some of the Spider characters here. So here we have Brian Cunningham, who is in his second not buying drought. The first time I stopped buying new releases, I only bought keys. But I realized old books, the writing is corny. The new releases have good adult content that keeps me reeled in, but I'm out right now because of medical bills from a busted spine. So Brian, I hope you do get better very soon. Can totally understand why you're not buying comics right now. But I understand his point. A lot of people will say, hey, you know what? Nothing's better than the old books out there, but you got to understand that the writing is dated. A lot of the stuff that was written in the 70s or 80s doesn't stand up to today. Some of it does, but some of it doesn't. And, the younger audience out there, this is their style of comics. So this is the books that they like. So there's a lot of conflict in the comic book community out there on what is a well-written comic and what is not a well-written comic, because we have different generations kind of butting heads with each other. I feel like if you can keep an open mind when it comes to comic books, you'll be all right, and then you won't be a jaded person, right? So very interesting here. So let's see. Joel says, I'm thinking about doing the same. I am totally reevaluating how I collect. I currently have a lot of issues, completed runs, and the like, not really worth anything, and I'm not reading them either. I want to consolidate my collection into fewer high-end comics and just get paperbacks to read. Totally understand that. Listen, comic books take up a lot of space. What I would suggest, Joel, is to go out there and see if you can try to sell those books, have a garage sale, do something like that, and then use the money to buy either key issues or the trade paperbacks that you are trying to look for. Let's see what Felix says. Felix says, I'm trying to collect more paperbacks and hardcovers as I'm a lazy collector and like to read storylines from start to finish without having to wait. Plus, the biggest part of my pull list have been X-Men books, which I'm not going to renew with the coming restart. So we get to see the end of the X-Men line for Felix. Again, a lot of you guys are going towards the omnibus or trade route, again, as it takes up late space. Okay. Mike said, I did back during COVID because my collecting was getting out of control and it was getting too expensive up here in Canada. By the time they convert the prices from US to Canadian and then add the sales tax, books were starting to cost over $7 each. So guys, listen, books are getting pricey. What is your threshold on a comic book? I want to know that in the comments below. Is $5 your threshold? Is $4 your threshold? Let me know. I mean, we have the Spawn books that are $3, right? I want to know what comic books do you buy and what's the price threshold, and whether it's your favorite character or not. If it breaks that price, are you still going to buy that comic book, right? Paul says, I've cut mine down. I'm trying to keep it to $20 to $30 a week. Marvel has barely any good books I'm interested in. Everything they put out is either a gimmick or just poor quality. DC ain't much better and is a depressing time for the big two. So, again, comic books are very opinionated. Everyone has their opinion on what certain books are, what gimmicks are, variants, things like that. And again, if you have the disposable income and you still enjoy it, then that's awesome. If you don't enjoy it, that's just as awesome too. That's what's so great about this hobby, is that there's got to be something out there for somebody. If it gets to a point when it comes to comic books where every single comic book you read sucks, right, in your opinion, then you should not be reading comic books anymore, because you've totally lost the love for the hobby, unless you just love to tear it apart, right? Okay, so Justin says, my pull list has gotten a little out of hand. I think when all my miniseries finish, I'll keep it small. So yeah, listen, it's very easy to get out of control when it comes to comic collecting, and I'll attain to that, right? There's times where you guys seen my hauls, they're like this, and you know what? I still find enjoyment in every other book I read. David says, I tried to stay around $25 a week, mainly collect creators and not titles. It was definitely out of hand for a while. So this is a good idea. If there is a particular creator that you like, right? Like, say, Daniel Warren Johnson, right? If you love the way he writes Transformers, then you're going to want to maybe collect or read some of the other stuff that he's come out with previously. If you love Jonathan Hickman, maybe you're going to read just his titles. That's a great way to keep costs down when it comes to comic collecting. Another way is also to not buy so many variant covers. That was one of my New Year's resolutions, right? And that totally failed. But again, there is ways to keep costs down and still enjoy the hobby. Just got to get creative with it, guys. So once again, there's some of the opinions out there or what other people are doing right now to keep their costs low when it comes to comic collecting. But like I said, I want to hear everyone's thoughts on this. I thought this was a fun little video, a nice little topic to get the conversation stirring here. And guys, hopefully you're enjoying your weekend. If you want more content, I got more content right here. Of course, guys, if you have a local comic shop near you, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read your comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.